This is not about a blow dryer. And if you thought it was, well, buckle up, Buttercup, because these conversations are hotter than that flat iron you're still wondering if you left on. I'm Kat, a hairstylist, educator, and one of the beauty industry's beautifully defiant misfits. This podcast isn't about viral hair trends, client bashing, or the latest formula for whatever shade of brown we're renaming this season. It's about the stories, the lessons, and the trial and error moments that shape careers, confidence, and the craft. So whether you're starting your journey in Cosmo School, thriving behind the chair, still finding your rhythm, or just looking for that push to get back on track, welcome to This Is Not About a Blow Dryer, where we talk beauty in a whole new way. Welcome back to another episode of This Is Not About a Blow Dryer. As per usual, I'm Kat Soriano. Last week, if you tuned in, I shared my story about my interview process when it came to joining my apprenticeship, the process of being timely, and honestly, some of the things that I think really helped me out. But this week, I thought it would be really interesting to get a different take. So if you're watching on my YouTube channel, you see a beautiful, lovely woman in front of you that I will introduce to you shortly so you can get an entirely different take of what that process may look like and also what she may look for if you decided to approach her for any apprenticeship or any kind of stylist position she may offer. Now, before we get started, I am going to do my card pull. And this week's card says, the comeback is always stronger than the setback.
Ooh,
That's
I
a good
love
one. I think
that.
that's actually really true also because I find that I have yet to not enjoy the outcome that came out of a failure, which is, anything that could be, maybe it was a lesson, maybe it was everything I learned in the process, or maybe it was a different opportunity that came from that no or that rejection. But I definitely think the comeback is always stronger than the setback. So always understand that that setback can actually be quite the win.
I 100% agree, Kat. That is amazing because with success, you have to have failure. You have to fall. It's that analogy of climbing the mountain and then you fall and then you plateau. But when you plateau, you're still higher than where you started. So you kind of go like this and plateau, but those comebacks are always stronger because you learn, evolve, and you grow.
Absolutely. That's what we're here to do, evolve and grow. And you heard her voice, you've seen her face if you're watching, but I'd love to welcome Kristi Hanna-Cruz. Thank you so much for being here today. She is a designer of hair of 24 years, a salon owner of 6.5 years. And as of the last 2 years, you've also been a confidence coach. And so, you're there to elevate your essence, help others elevate their essence through their style edits. Do you want to speak a little bit on that? I'm sure people are really curious.
Yeah, I just feel like having been in this career for 2 decades plus, you definitely evolve and grow and you change and you find your niche and then you dive a little bit deeper and then you figure out, well, who am I behind the chair? How am I curating my bespoke life? And curating your bespoke life is doing things intentionally, in purpose, on purpose, for purpose. So the whole coaching program evolved a couple years ago when I was like, I want to dive a little bit deeper to the females' why. Why, when they leave my chair, do they feel so fantastic and fabulous? But then sometimes they have those lulls in their days. So I decided to curate this style edit where I help elevate their essence, not only externally through designing their hair, but internally. So it's been amazing.
I love that. That's a really neat way to not only connect further with your clients, but also connect with the community of hairdressers, right? Because you can really speak to everybody and you really become fluent in that language of just helping in so many different ways. So that's really neat. And I think another point in that is, if you're in beauty school or, you're starting your journey, this is another beautiful example of how limitless our industry is. You can have a career and success just being behind the chair, which is totally fine. But
Yeah.
there are so many different things that you can do, and there are so many different doors that you can open for yourself. And so this is such a cool addition to what you do and what you've done. And yet it's still so aligned with your purpose and so aligned with where your heart is. So I love that.
Which I think is true for most hairdressers getting into this industry and this career. We are so creative. And some years you just innovate differently because you have the capacity or you have the alignment or you have the clarity. So, yeah, it's really fun to just be your truest self. Of course, be inspired along the way because there's so many courses you can get involved in and continuing education, but also slowing down and just meditating in seeing yourself as being the best version of yourself. So slowing down, not trying to be like everybody else that you see on social media or trying to be something that you're not, really fully being aligned with your truest essence and your truest north. And that will help you in this industry because we are so creative.
Absolutely. Follow the North Star. Always follow the North Star. Okay, so really quick, before we start diving a little bit more, tell us about your salon. Tell us what you work on, a little bit about if you hire younger stylists, if you look for apprentices, a little bit about that element of it.
Okay, perfect. Well, I have my beautiful boutique salon
It's
tucked in
so
the
pretty.
quaint neg
It's so pretty.
It's so pretty. It's tucked in the quaint neighborhood of Normandy Park. It is a shabby chic atmosphere. I have a beautiful chandelier that you can see behind me, some old dressers that I've repurposed, but lots of beautiful lighting. And then in my shampoo bowl area, it's just a relax and rejuvenation area for my guests. So I really wanted to create an oasis for my guests to be able to come in and have that full rejuvenation and pamper and posh experience. But for me, like having apprentices come in and help support the brand is really what helps you expand your brand because each salon out there and each salon company has a different niche, has a different culture. And not to say one culture is better than the other. There's so many great cultures in salons, but that's what the apprentice, that's what the new hire and employee really needs to look at is like, do you see yourself in this community? Do you like the camaraderie? Do you like the way, the verbiage, the way they speak? Are they positive? Are they, what's the energy level? And I always feel like when you can walk into an environment and you already have a higher elevation, you know that that's probably a great salon company for you to work at. Now, if you walk into another salon company and you feel your vibration lower, that's probably not the right place or space for you. So, really just being in tune with how you feel and how the culture is.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. And I think one of the things that, we think of when we're going into these, apprenticeships and things is it's okay also to maybe you don't see yourself there yet, but you see what you want to be in those around you. I mean, it really is an ecosystem. Each
Yeah.
salon is its own little ecosystem and, survives off of its own beliefs and its own passions and its community. I mean, it really is. I think it's a little different if you're going to a salon suite. I think, sometimes leasing stations may be a little different, but when you're, it all works differently. But a lot of times, the ecosystem that is each salon, it will speak to you. It really will. And even if, again, it's that you don't necessarily see yourself there yet, you want to be, then you're stepping into the right place. It's going to be uncomfortable, it might be challenging, it might feel really scary in a good way, but understand like the difference. And so I love that you hit the nail on the head of that community element, is how they speak to each other, and is that somewhere where you can really submerge yourself in.
And I also think just Kat, one thing to add on that is like, um, be brave. Be brave, even if you feel like this is the salon that you want to work at, but you feel timid or nervous. Those feelings are real. If your dreams are not big enough, they won't scare you. So you should feel scared. And putting yourself out there should feel scary. Stepping beyond the box is nerve-wracking, but it also grows you, it stretches you, and then you become and evolve to be the best version of yourself.
Totally. It just speaks again to that element of hey, it's normal for it to be a little bit scary. If you're comfortable, that might not be a place that you're going to continue to grow.
Yes.
And,
When you're comfortable, you don't grow. That is factual.
yeah, if you're not growing, you're dying. So, are you in an environment where you can really submerge yourself in what's next while still being able to be in what is?
Yep. Beautiful.
Something I would love to know from your take again, salon owner, beautiful space, great experience. What's something that you first notice when you're hiring or interviewing a stylist or an apprentice that someone listening might think, oh my gosh, I would have never thought like to do that, or something that they can take with them to prep as they continue their next journey?
Well, I always say the success is in the preparation and the preparation is in the separation. And so when you prepare yourself to come to an interview to be an apprentice or an employee or a leaser, be punctual, show up looking like the designer you are or the designer you want to become. Because as a designer or a stylist behind the chair, you're ever evolving and changing your style, but you need to show up and inspire the guests that you're taking care of. Most people wouldn't be inspired by somebody who doesn't have their hair done, doesn't look the part, is just in like joggers and Uggs. Not that that's a bad look, because we all have our casual, comfy days, but I just would recommend show up looking and feeling your best self and be punctual. Those are really, really important things to just make sure that the person who is interested in hiring you can rely on you.
I love that you hit on image. What does looking the part look like, for example, in your space? Again, you explained your space. It's elegant, it's beautiful, but it's got these really approachable elements. So, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so it's not about perfection at all. Like, I think perfection doesn't exist and no filters up in this space. We want the raw, authentic self as we even showcase our beautiful work here. But I don't typically like jeans. I like to have polished, tailored outfits for the staff to be wearing. I think that it just shows the brand better. And I think when I heard this actually growing up playing basketball, my coach said, look good, feel good, play good. And that just stuck with me throughout my whole life. So for me, I want to put myself together each and every day, the best of myself, not only for myself personally, but to inspire my guests to allow them, hey, maybe put a pop of lippy on, a lip color, or a little bit more bronzer, or wear a fun bright top, or a fun dress with a blazer over the top. You just never know how you can evoke fashion, beauty, honor, design, creativity to your guests because we naturally are creative individuals. So, yeah, I would say it's definitely more of a style of tailored and put together.
Yeah, I definitely believe there's a way that you can still showcase your personal style and still look really professional.
Yes.
And we've been doing hair for a while. And I think one of the things that sometimes I think people forget is that being very casual for work is not a new thing in our industry. There's always been different stylists that dress more casually. In my day, it was khaki pants and Keds sneakers that people would wear that were oh, that's somebody not dressed up. Now we've kind of transitioned into a place where you can dress a sneaker up, even if it is a Ked sneaker, and make it look really cool and intentional. I think
Mm,
we've come into a place where style has evolved significantly different, but it's not new to be, for lack of a better word, sloppy at work.
yeah.
It's not new. It's not
Yeah.
a new trend. It's not a new revolution. It's just always been a different type of success and different type of environment you want to be in. And so
Mhm.
is it wrong? No, it's just different. It's
Yeah.
it's not wrong. It's just different. And in all honesty, it's not necessarily usually the person I'm talking to, because the person I'm talking to right now, you're wanting something a little different. You're
Mhm.
wanting to push, and that's okay. Just like it's okay for them to be a little more casual, it's okay for you to want more. That doesn't make you greedy. It doesn't make you arrogant. It doesn't make you any of those things. It just makes you different. And
Mhm.
we're all in this industry because we probably were a little different. So, so
Exactly.
I wish that, people would receive these conversations more as a, it's not a judgment conversation.
No.
It's a, there are many ways to do something conversation. And if
Mhm.
this suits you, awesome. I'm so glad you're here. So, dress to impress,
Yeah.
timing, and being prepared is a good thing. Now, how would you suggest somebody be prepared when it comes to maybe good questions to ask you, or, having an understanding of what it is that, makes your salon in your space and working with you so you.
I think when you are looking to work at a specific salon, I think knowing deep within your creative edge, what is it that you want? And does this salon align for you to be educated in that specific style of hair or technique? I personally don't do a whole lot of perms here in my salon. But if you are looking to do more younger tailored styles for young boys, that have the perms, like you should probably look at a salon that has more of that clientele, right? So knowing a little bit more about their portfolio, about what they do, their credentials. I think making sure that you know what you'll get educated on, because I think this career is very much hands-on. You get your basics in beauty school, and then once you get your hands on, it makes more sense. You get more creative. You learn how to course correct a lot easier when you actually get your hands on some hair.
Totally. It's a totally different form of learning. I mean, we're kinesthetic and visual creatures, most of us in this industry. So
Exactly.
we want to see and then we want to touch. So, yeah, once you can get your hands in there and knowing that it's a place that you can get your hands in there, knowing it's a place that actually is going to offer you that education and that continued knowledge and skill.
Mhm.
So, are there any standout questions that you could think of if somebody were to come in and just at the end of an interview, you're like, "You have any questions for me?" What would be something that would make you really think like, "Wow, like this person's really serious. This person really wants to be here."
I think honestly, if they know and they've been following you on social media, kind of what you're all about, and um, if they're intrigued to learn some of the things that are your best standouts. So for me and my salon company, I've had, some opportunities to be on Como for News and do some TEDx hair and makeup. And then I'm sixth fully certified and trained in natural beaded row extensions. So for me to have a new hire come in and know that about me and say, hey, I really would love to have you train me in how to contour somebody's face, or how do you know how to do a diagonal forward and the right length, for the cut depends on the face shape. Somebody that really is paying attention to what they can learn from the years of experience that you've had behind the chair.
Yeah, that's a great point because it shows that you've also been doing your homework. It shows that you want to grow there. It's not just another space. It's
Mm.
not just another job. There's
Yeah.
something within that space that really kind of ignited a curiosity, a passion, something inside of you that made you say, I really want to learn from this person. That's the person I want to be around. So, yeah, again, being prepared.
Mhm.
Being
Yeah.
prepared, doing your homework, understanding that there's more to learn from that person, that space, and knowing what there is from that
Mm.
space.
And like you said, ecosystem, if you are really prepared and you've paid attention to what that salon company can offer you, most likely you have those same skill sets. You might not just have the expertise in them, but that's something that you want to exponentially grow on. So it just goes to show that that ecosystem, having you a part of that brand, would actually elevate the brand as a whole. And that's the whole point, right? To have a salon company, work in a salon culture, have the apprentices really love what they're doing, because the ecosystem is full of joy and learning and growing and creativity and collaboration.
Absolutely. And as educators, I mean, we thrive off of that. I don't know about you, but I've always felt like I was lucky enough to have a lot of educators that really dumped import into me and just gave me their all. And it almost feels like this responsibility to hand it forward and to really make sure that you're doing the same, right? It's paying that constant forward. And so there's nothing that makes me happier to have somebody that comes in and is just hungry and like wants it. Because, I always joke with my apprentices and people that come in, and I'm like, my whole goal is to make you so good that you constantly have me like running for my job. Like,
Mm.
I want you on my heels or next to me or ahead of me in everything that we do. But I want you to be so good that I'm like, I'm slacking.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. That feels so good to be able to train people up to surpass us or do things quicker, learn. I remember the first time I learned balayage. Oh my goodness, it was so challenging, and now I can just whip it out and it's so beautiful. But once you learn and then you teach it to the next, it's like, oh wow, and they pick it up quicker and faster. It just depends on the creative edge and just, how well of a listener or just the creativity that the individual has, how well they pick it up. So, but it doesn't mean that you have to be an expert in this craft right away. But you should enjoy the process along the way and be okay to fail because there's been many times that I've had to you know, um correct something. Yes, exactly. Back to our
it's
question.
longer than the setback.
Yes, yes. And to be humble enough, it doesn't mean if somebody comes back to get their hair redone, it doesn't mean that you did a terrible job. Maybe it was the lack of communication or honing in exactly what the individual wanted. Maybe we saw something differently in the color formula, because sometimes stylists see color differently than our guests do. So,
Mhm. Well, I mean, it's always a compliment. You have to think of it as a compliment when a client is willing to, especially these days,
mhm.
is willing to not only tell you they don't like something, but come back to you
Yes,
to
because they
adjust.
know, like, and trust you,
They
right? They know,
trust,
like,
they
trust you enough.
safe with you. I
Yeah.
mean, think about how many videos you see of people being like, I hate my hair, I hate my hair, I hate my hair. And they feel more comfortable going and telling millions of people they don't know on the internet than coming back to your chair or picking up that phone and calling you.
Which you just got to be humble as
Yeah.
stylists, right? As much as we are like our craft, like what we do is so visual. Like people can see if there's the slightest mistake. So it's always good to, of course, if you see it, just own it, right? And offer the correction. Or if the guest goes home and doesn't like what they, receive, then allow them to come back and not feel uncomfortable. So I would say for me earlier on in my day, um, for stylists getting into this industry or, 3 to 5 years in, don't take it personal. Do not take it personal. Just humble yourself so much to be the person that gives the absolute white glove service, give
Mhm.
the guest exactly what they need. And oftentimes it's really just that TLC and care.
Yeah. I love that you brought this up. I had a younger stylist ask me about that redos in particular on one of the social media posts that we were doing. And when my mentor, actually, Roger.
Yeah.
Roger
Yeah.
constantly says, don't fall in love with your work.
Mm.
And what he means by that isn't like don't love what you're doing. What he means is don't fall so in love with what you've done that if somebody else doesn't like it, you can't get past it
Right.
because it's not about you.
Right.
It could be so right and it's still wrong because it's not right for that client.
Exactly.
They're the ones wearing it, they're the ones coming to you. Like you are the person executing it. And even if you executed it perfectly, it was wrong. You have to let that pass through and you have to learn to not fall in love with your work. So the environment you're in and the salons you choose and through this time period as you're building, as you're growing, are going to be huge in helping shape your mindset in that and helping change your perspectives on that and help you really just kind of get to a place where not only you're building your soft skills, but you're evolving into places where you can consistently stay humble in your next steps as you continue to grow.
Yes, 100%.
It's a journey. It's a journey. Okay, let's start wrapping this baby up because I could talk to you all day and I know things to do.
No, it's so good, Kat. I value you and appreciate you. And for all of you on YouTube watching this amazing, dynamic woman, like you have so much to offer our industry. And I appreciate how you're pioneering and innovating and really giving the younger generation an opportunity to be bold, to be brave, and to not be afraid to walk into salon companies and say, is this the right fit for me? Do I see myself evolving and growing here? Because that is the goal. Most salon companies want you to evolve, grow, and thrive. Nobody wants to keep you stuck. Most salons don't anyway, right? So, yeah, the whole point is to find that niche salon company for you to go and thrive and evolve and become the best designer and hairstylist that you can be.
Absolutely beautiful last words. Well, thank you so much, Kristi, for being on the show with us today. I'm going to go ahead and add your handles in the description just in case people want to give you a follow or learn more, maybe even jump in on some of your coaching. But
Love it.
thank you so much for your input. I really appreciate having you here.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Kat, for having me. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for tuning in one more time for another episode that's not about a blow dryer.